Hey everyone, welcome back to Digging Deeper. This week on the show, we're tackling a question that I get asked a lot, which is how to open up new ground in the market garden. All right, so first things first, I want to let everyone know that I read the comments that people send and I really appreciate it. I don't respond to everyone because I really don't have the time, busy with the farming, but I do appreciate the comments. And also I'm thinking about making videos on some of the suggestions or the comments or the questions that we get asked a lot. So feel free to shoot us lines, we do appreciate. And today I want to share a little experiment that I'm running here on another farm project that I'm a part of. And we're looking at 3 different ways to open up new ground, which is a question that I get asked a lot. And we're going to be observing what the difference is with the soil structure and some of the qualities, the plus and cons of these 3 different ways. And the first one is pretty typical of my farming style, the black silage tarps. If you've been following my work, you know, silage tarps are a big part of my toolbox. And for opening new ground, it's really useful because it's a passive, low-tech strategy that really works. So you'll just cover the soil with these tarps. They're UV treated, they're black, and it's really the absence of light that will, you know, kill everything that's underneath. But it's actually not killing it, it's just creating a mulch that, you know, all the living soil creatures that are there will come up and chew the grass on. So to get rid of the sod, that's a great way, but it takes a lot of time. So you need to have time, and how much time is required is a good question that we'll be answering with this experiment. The other way is more of a classical way, and that's one way that I've opened up a lot of fields with. That's how I did it on my farm when I started. It's a typical, pretty traditional way of plowing, you know, kind of quite deep to make sure that the sod is kind of put back into the lower inches of the ground, and then disked a few times, 2-3 times. Then the bindweed will come up, it's disked again, and a 3rd time it's disked. And then you'll have new ground that you can work your beds in. Opening ground this way is what a lot of people are not doing right now because there's a big hype on no-till systems. But no-till is a good strategy in itself, especially when your beds are established. But if you've read any literature on market gardening dating from the early 1800s, a lot of the best advice that you can find is that when you're opening new ground, you want to do the reverse of a no-till. You want to make sure that you're opening the soil as deep as possible, because that's what's going to create the soil profile that you're going to be working on later on. So if you're familiar with double digging, that's the reason behind it, especially when you're opening new ground or preparing new beds. And there's a reason for that. John Jevin was one that really talked a lot about that. You can Google him, you can Google double digging. But he learned from somebody that learned from the old French Parisian market gardeners, and they were all opening new ground by double digging. So the plow does that, and the disking allows to break all the sod. And it's a great way, it's a way that works. And it's certainly one way that I would recommend. But I also want to be showing you a 3rd way, which I think is more of the permaculture way. And it involves using our friendly pigs. So pigs are really amazing because their snouts, it acts just like a plow. And they're opening new ground. And the beauty with them is that they're eating all the roots that they find in the sod. And so one of the big problems when you're opening new ground is that if, let's say, you're just flipping the top, you'll still have bindweed and the rhizomium that's in the bottom that's always going to become a problem. I think the pigs, but because they're eating all of this, the root systems of the bindweed, they'll get rid of it. And that's one of the experiments that I'm trying here. So the beauty with these guys is that they're eating all the root systems, but they're also providing us with, eventually, really amazing charcuteries for the farm-to-table place that we're doing here. So I know that there's a lot of buzz right now on no-till systems, and there's a lot of people that are preaching that, you know, soil should never be disturbed, but you know, that's not how I see things. And from all that I've studied about soil dynamics and soil ecology and all the experiments that I've run through the years, having a really deep, loose soil to start with is really key. No-till, minimal tillage really kicks in when you have beds established, when you have soil that is really loose and deep, that was worked, and then you really want to have an active, you know, biological community in there that's doing the work. But to start the gardens, when you have heavy sod, you know, I think the experiments that we're running here, I think should be enlightening with regards to soil structure. And, you know, I know from experience that that's a classic and great way to start. So that's it for this week's episode. I'd love to hear how you would open new ground or how you've done it. Sharing is learning, so if you want to post comments about how you've done it, I'd love to read about that. I'll be sharing the conclusions of some of these experiments in months to come. But till then, I just want to wish you, you know, good times on the farm. Hope things are growing spiritually and emotionally. Hope you're doing well. I'm excited. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time, guys. JM out.